The operator of Gautrain, Bombela Operating Company, says it will be business as usual for commuters today.
And that's as the National Union of Metalworkers of South Africa downed tools for an indefinite strike after wage talks are deadlocked. Well, our business reporter Ntokozo Khumalo is following that story for us this morning. Ntokozo, good morning to you. So the union has registered a dispute with the CCMA for conciliation. What's the union demanding? Let's start there, and then we'll talk about what you're seeing at the train stations today. But what are the demands that are being raised by NUMSA?
Good morning, Naledi. While where the wage deadlocks, where the wage talks really deadlocked is around some of the demands that NUMSA is looking for. That includes a 13% salary increase across the board, a 2,000 Rand housing allowance per employer per month. That's just some of the issues that they've put on the table for the operators of Gauteng Bombela Operating Company. Those talks deadlocked earlier in the month. They started off earlier this year. That's after they did have negotiations last year that did see some increases and including, transport allowance. Bombela saying that some of those demands are unreasonable and can't be met. So we are out in Sandton right now, Naledi, which is when starting really the route from maybe Park Station. It's the third stop heading all the way through to Pretoria. NUMSA workers will be picketing at the Midrand offices. So after we leave Sandton here, we will be heading out then to Midrand. But here at the Sandton station, it seems that it is business as usual. Naledi, commuters coming in and out, dropping off the Ubers, dropping off the Gautrain bus to go ahead and catch the Gautrain here at the Sandton station. So far, it does seem as business as usual. But NUMSA did send out a note late last night that the pickets in Midrand will be starting at 7 o'clock. So we will then see how that is affecting then just the movement of riders throughout the day, Naledi.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting. And of course, at least now we've got the clarity that train and bus services for Gautrain are operating this morning. As that's assisting you if you need to get to work or to school this morning. But Ntokozo, I think before I let you go, have we heard from Gautrain management yet? And, their view perhaps on whether or not they can even afford NUMSA's demands?
And I think that's one of the considerations. I did reach out to them, to get the commentary, and that is when they sent us that statement that business will go on as usual. They are still open to discussions with NUMSA, but saying that they have put in contingency plans should consumers or commuters face any adverse interruptions, but they wouldn't really give any details on what those contingency plans are. And really, Naledi, since 2010, Gautrain has struggled to pick up those numbers. And after the COVID-19 pandemic, really seeing a drop in rider numbers, having to still, get some form of bailout from the government. There is a condition that says that it meets its base revenue based on the rider numbers that it had set out for itself. So when those numbers are not met, then it does mean that government needs to pour into the Gautrain. So a lot of issues when it comes to the financial viability of workers being able, or Gautrain and Bombela Operating Company being able to meet NUMSA's demands. It also comes at a time when a lot is happening when it comes to the ownership structure itself of the Gautrain. We saw some companies selling out. Currently now it's about half of the company is foreign owned. That concession agreement meant to be coming to an end in 2022. So out on tender for new owners or new operators of the Gautrain. So a lot of moving parts at the company that I suppose NUMSA also needs to consider when making these wage deals. But we are going to hear from them and pose these questions to NUMSA on, is this the right time to really be looking for these demands considering all that is happening financially at the Gautrain. So we'll have some of those answers a little bit later on, Naledi.
And we'll also be speaking to Tsepa Kobe, of course, who's the Gautrain Management Agency CEO. That'll be at 8:30. But clarity there from Ntokozo Khumalo this morning, essentially saying to us, so Gautrain and bus services are operating.